here's what White House Chief of Staff Reince Priebus said this morning when asked if the president would concede he wasn't wiretapped by President Obama.
Safe to say that when people use the word wiretapped, they're not talking about the president, hooking up wires into a telephone.
Nobody's saying that.
The fact is, reports have come out for many, many months now that people on the Trump campaign transition team were surveillanced by potentially some intelligence group, whether they were inadvertently swept up, whether the names were unmasked. Chris, you don't know the full answer to that question, and I don't either.
Joining me now, Adriana Cohen, Boston Herald columnist and Trump supporter. Adriana, with a welcome to you. So, how long should Trump operatives push this narrative? When the head of the NSA, the head of the FBI, they've said they've seen no evidence to that end. Is the White House at risk of just wearing down its credibility with this?
I think we need to just hit the pause button and let an investigation take place because so when Donald Trump tweeted that there was wiretapping by allegedly President Obama, he did it in quotes. He means surveilled. And so it remains to be seen at this point, like Reince Priebus had alluded, whether or not, FBI officials and intelligence officials they say that they were just trying to track the activities of Russian persons, but then they incidentally picked up, members of the Trump transition team.
But Adriana,
and so
why
we
did
need
the
more
president put this out there? Why was he was the one that started the whole conversation?
I agree with you. I think he should have not tweeted that, or he should have been more nuanced. It's okay to ask questions. I think President Trump could have asked questions. Was I wiretapped? Was my team surveilled inappropriately? Was our privacy rights violated? He should have asked questions more than make definitive statements unless he can back it up with hard evidence.
Yeah. Do you think he realized that he was calling the former president of the United States a felon?
Probably, and I don't think he should do those sort of things. I mean, you have to be very careful. First of all, it's wrong to malign anyone's character and to defame someone unfairly unless you know for sure you have factual evidence that took place. Being suspicious doesn't raise the bar high enough to make those types of serious accusations. And so, I think Trump supporters and members within his, the administration need to see some hard evidence to see whether or not surveillance did actually take place inappropriately.
What about the president tweeting the plug for a TV show host, and that host then goes on to rail against House Speaker Paul Ryan? Do you think that was coincidence, or was there something more behind it?
I found that troubling, to be honest with you, because Judge Jeanine has a very successful show. She doesn't need a ratings plug. She's already a very talented, accomplished person and host. So she doesn't need a plug by the president. So the timing was a little bit suspect why he would promote her show. And then she came out and, called for Paul Ryan to resign. Although, Judge Jeanine did say President Trump had no idea what she was going to say, and I'm going to take her word for it. But, I mean, I can't blame anybody for questioning the timing.
Let's talk about health care. Friday's defeat. How damaging was this to Donald Trump's image as a deal closer? He's cast himself as someone who's really good at making deals.
I think it was terribly damaging for the GOP because Paul Ryan and the Republicans have had 7 years to craft a repeal and replacement plan that's going to be good for the American people, that's going to bring premiums down, provide more choice, and fix a lot of the problems that currently exist with Obamacare. They've had many, many years to craft a new plan and build the consensus needed to pass it. Now they have control of the White House, Republicans, and control of Congress. This should be a slam dunk. Once President Obama got inaugurated, Paul Ryan should have been able to hit the ground running and get something passed that was truly better for the American people, and he failed to do that. And so I think a lot of the blame belongs with Paul Ryan failing to be able to execute when he's had years to do it. Now, with respect to Donald Trump, I think that he will definitely survive this. I think it's more of a setback for him. I think he's learned a lot from this. He will definitely pivot to areas where he can win, like tax and regulatory reform, infrastructure projects, revising Dodd-Frank, renegotiating NAFTA. He has a long laundry list on his agenda. It wasn't a great day for Donald Trump, but I think really who is going to fall on the sword here most likely is Paul Ryan. All right.
Adriana Cohen there from Boston Herald. Thank you very much, Adriana, for your time. It is a